Hello and welcome everyone to Foxboro's Fortress, your home for all the latest news on your favorite MLS club, the New England Revolution. I'm Cecil, Kenney, co-hosting alongside Raphael Babchuck, both of the New England Podcasting Network. Today, we'll break down last Saturday's loss to Philly and this weekend's upcoming match against New York City FC. Big thank you to Leading Lights LLC for making this possible. We'll talk more on them later. For now, let's jump into breaking down our 2-0 loss to the Union.
After our disappointing loss to the Philadelphia Union, we have to regroup and refocus, as next up we play NYCFC. Now, we have to focus on the game, learn by what we did wrong, and focus on what we can do right. Cecil, what are your thoughts?
I thought the attacking prowess was just not there. Langoni, Diaz, Ganago showed flashes, but there was nothing really they didn't bring anything there. The Campana injury set us back early, but that shouldn't be an excuse for just not showing anything attacking, to be completely honest.
You know, that makes so much sense because, listen, our attacking prowess was non-existent that game. I mean, in the second half, we had 2 shots. That is terrible, all right? That is unexcusable because we are losing that game. And we focus on our defense. Yes, our defense is very good this season and definitely a bright point. But we cannot continue to play like this on the attack. We have 0 goals. 0 goals is unexcusable. It has been 3 games and we have scored 0 goals. Caleb Porter has to do something about the attack. He can't just sit back and talk, oh wow, our defense is doing really great. That's great. How many goals have we scored this season? Because I'm sorry, this is not allowed. We cannot continue to do this because scoring 0 goals in the first 3 games, by my point of view, is extremely embarrassing and should not be tolerated. And if he wants to continue his stay at the club, he has to be able to score goals.
Yeah, I completely agree. The defense has been just remarkable. The additions of Fofana and Ceballos, Eli Fingoldstone flashes, Ivic has taken a step up, although not something I expected. Very happy to see that. And then, although the right back position hasn't been incredible, we've got 2 MLS guys who have done somewhat decent. Our defense is looking phenomenal, only allowing 3 goals through 3 games. That's not bad.
I mean, look at our defenders. They're really, our 2 center backs. We got Fofana and Ceballos. I mean, they're playing absolutely amazing. I mean, who's your favorite out of the 2?
I think I like Fofana. He's got that experience, and I feel like he's the more solid one at the back. I think we had 1 or 2 goals off of Ceballos' side. And I think we only may have had 1 off of Fofana's side. I think that's remarkable given the state of our team at the moment. But we're looking incredible at the back. Our attack, though, it's just not there. There is nothing there. Langoni, our record signing, just not doing anything. Campana, who looked really good, like a really good signing, although injured now, just didn't do anything through 2 games before getting taken off in the 6th. And then Ganago, he was brought in from France, maybe not a goal scorer, but he's shown flashes, just nothing. Absolutely nothing out of the 3 of those guys. And Carlos Gil, we love him. He's our captain. It seems like he's lost a step. We can't play through him every single play. It's just not something we can do.
Exactly. I mean, if we just give the ball to Carlos and just say, hey, do what you want to do, that's not how we play, right? It's not 1 versus 11. It's 11v11. We have to work as a team. And if we're in the attack, we're just laying it off to Carlos saying, hey, just do what he's going to do. That's really hard for a player. Even though his caliber is really high up, to play the defenders in front of him and not really have a help of his attack is not how we score goals. And Caleb Porter as a coach has to figure this out and fix this. Because this 0 goals, again, I'm going to emphasize this, 0 goals in 3 games. That is inexcusable.
Speaking of inexcusable, our set-piece execution. I'm talking corners and goal kicks especially. We're looking at this. We've got this supposedly very good set-piece coach who came from the Premier League, best league in the world. It's remarkable how poor the execution has been. I get that we brought him in late in the season, but that doesn't excuse how poor it's been. I'll use an example of the goal kicks to start. We've got Ivic who gets the ball out of beside his net, and then you've got Fofana and Ceballos on the corners of the 6. Ivic kind of just has the ball. He kind of rolls it up to Fofana, and Fofana stops it and then passes it back to Ivic. Ivic then just holds it and waits for a guy to come and, sprint at him. it has almost cost us a goal on now 2 separate occasions.
Remember that.
Was it in the Columbus game?
Yeah, we had one in the Columbus game and then one in the Nashville game that cost us almost.
Did we have it in 3 games?
Yeah.
Because I remember one happened in Philly, or versus Philly. It's terrible what's happening. Our goal kicks have never been something to write home about, but we're also looking at something that shouldn't be costing us every single game on at least a chance. It's bad how they're running up, and we had one. I'll talk about the Philly game. We had a guy run up and block it, and it was close to going in. I wouldn't say majorly close, but it's still a chance for them. It's not looking good there. And then corners. Our first corner was poorly executed. It looked like we were just trying to trick them, but we had 3 guys on 2, Yule and Carlos, and it's just it didn't work how I think it was intended to. But something has to change, because corners are not about tricking the other opponent. It's about making a play and getting a chance off of a corner.
Exactly. I mean, when we talk about goal kicks from earlier, how difficult is a goal kick? Because last I checked, when it's the goal kick, right, you're trying to find someone, pass out there. There's no need to make it confusing. So I don't understand why we're putting it on our players to try to do this whole setup play, and then we end up really just turning the ball over, almost making them score a goal. I mean, it's a goal kick, right? It's not a free kick play, right? Sometimes corner kicks you want to do something, but goal kick, I mean, we can't be doing this, especially on a goal kick. This should not be allowed.
That I completely agree with that one. Moving on, I want to touch on the Campana injury. So he went down in the 4th or 5th minute. He ended up coming off. FOMUP says the 10th. I thought it was more like the 6th or 7th. And we learned the other day, which is it might be out 3 to 4 weeks, which will end up being 3 games because of the international break to a hamstring injury. Games that he would miss would be NYCFC, which we don't have a plan at striker. I'm gonna ask Raphael in a moment on what he thinks we should do. Red Bull, which is never an easy opponent, and then Cincinnati, who I think is looking quite good this season. What do you think we do at striker with Campana out?
Well, this is really a striker crisis, because, I mean, when we brought him in to score goals. We have 0 of those, and now he's injured. And we talk about our backups. We have Irudi, who we also just recently brought in. He's a older guy, right? It's hard for him to play the full 90 minutes. And then after that, we really don't have a true striker up top. So what I see Irudi playing up top for that game and getting subbed out around the 70th, 75th minute. Because even at the end of that of our game versus Philadelphia, he was kind of trudging along, getting really tired because he's an older guy, which makes sense.
Yeah, I don't really like the term older guy there. He's only 34, still mid-30s-ish, but that doesn't... Soccer's sort of a game where it's about intensity, especially MLS, and we're talking how he is having to go what was ended up being a full 92 minutes this past Saturday, and he is now 34 years of age trying to keep up with guys who are 20, 22, young guys who have speed. He is not the fastest of guys, as we've learned. He's meant to be a guy we bring in around the 75th minute. He's not supposed to go the full 90. He's supposed to be a bench guy, which is great. I think he's a great bench striker. I think he's a phenomenal backup. I just don't think that him going full 90 is the greatest option for us. So, personally, for what I want to do is Gana go up top. He played striker in France for a bit, with Diaz playing out wide. I do think Diaz could be a defensive liability. We haven't seen a lot of that, and we've had attacks go on his side multiple times while he's on the field late game. And so I just don't know if that's the greatest choice, but I think I want Porter to experiment with that and then bring Irudi on for Diaz around the 65th minute and put Ganago back on the wing, Irudi up top.
Speaking of changing the lineup, let's talk about the subs that we used in our game versus Philadelphia. In the 10th minute, we had Irudi come on for the injured Campana. We had Diaz come on the 68th for Langoni. We had Brandon Bai come in for Ewell in the 82nd minute, and then Buck in for Sands, which to me that's weird because Buck does not usually play on that side of the field. He's not as defensive, and we had Bai kind of playing in a midfield role. But again, this is our coach, and this is the subs that he made. Cecil, how do you think about these subs? How did they impact the game?
So I kind of have to discount the Rudy sub because we didn't really have a choice there. He was really the only forward on the bench, in that striker position, and it was a early sub, so it wasn't the greatest of situations for us. Diaz for Langoni. Langoni had shown some, flashes up to that moment, but he hadn't really done much, and I think he got a yellow prior to that. And it was kind of a dumb yellow, just kind of like throwing the ball away when he shouldn't have. So kind of a dumb yellow. But I don't hate that sub, but I also don't love it. Bai for Ewell and Buck for Sands. Here's where I get mad. So both 82nd, 83rd minute. So double substitution. Noel Buck played as a right back for the Southampton U19s and didn't perform exceptionally. The Southampton U19s in Premier League 2 and the MLS are two very different leagues. MLS is a much more physical league and a league that needs more speed than what the Premier League 2 has. Brandon Bai has no experience in that midfield position. Why is he playing CDM for Ewell? I don't know. That was a just weird substitution because we thought it was just a scoreboard. In my perspective, thought it was a scoreboard malfunction. Just they're just gonna put these guys in and then they'll switch. No, that's not what happened. They had Bai playing center defensive mid where arguably Buck should have been playing. I think Buck is more of a all-around center mid who doesn't really fit the system, but I think CDM does fit him the best out of any position on the field that we play. And then him playing right back is just not something he's really should be doing in a MLS game. He might have been able to pull it, hold his weight in a Southampton U19s game, but on a MLS game against one of the best teams in MLS, who is one of two undefeated teams, it's not going to work.
Yeah. So if we're talking about impacting the game, and our subs is Caleb Porter, he's like, all right, we're losing. What are we going to do? And he does this? I mean, that again, I've used this word a lot today, but that again is inexcusable for our coach. And Cecil, I know we've been talking about this for a while, but what's your take on Caleb Porter?
Man, so I think he's a very good coach. He's obviously won 2 MLS Cups for 2 very good teams, Columbus and Portland, which those Cups weren't too long ago. I don't hate him as a coach. I think he's been a great MLS coach. Him for the Revs, he has not been incredible. He's just not really been what we've needed at coach. We had Bruce Arena, who was doing incredible for us, and he brought us to win the Supporters' Shield and break records, which is now broken by Messi's Inter Miami. I don't really love that. But these subs, I'm not inspired by them. Obviously Rudy, I have to discount that, like I said, but the Bai for Ewell and Buck for Sands stuff, I just can't really wrap my head around why he thought that would be the greatest decision, down 1-0, where they ended up scoring later on to make it 2-0. But it was 1-0 since the 76th, I think. And he brought in those 2 subs as a late-game desperation sub. Why? Because they're both somewhat defensive. It's just not what we needed then.
I agree. I mean, when we're talking about our game and our players, who was your standout?
I think my standout, I'm a really big Al Hassan Yusuf fan. I've been a fan of his since last year. He's a very good player who's played in the Champions League. I know he's a very good CDM. I think he's going to be, if he stays with us through the year, he's going to be a bright spot. Again, I'm going to mention the center backs, Fofana and Ceballos. I love them both, Fofana more, but Ceballos is doing some crazy tricks out there with the bicycle kick. I think that was him. And then the Scorpion over in Gillette this past weekend. There's not too many bright spots, I'll be honest here. Ganago and Campana and Hill and Langoni and Diaz, they didn't really perform how I needed them to. I'm a big Buck fan as well, but he didn't do anything to really win me over there. but just Ivicic played well as well. I won't discount that. I just don't really think many guys really performed how we needed to. Who are your stars?
Well, my star, especially, I really like Ceballos. I think Ceballos comes into the defense, and he really is rock solid in the defense. He's playing really well, and yeah, he's adding a little bit of flair, right? But I mean, as a team, as a fans, I love seeing flair, right? I love seeing the game be more exciting, and he's a really good defender, and I think what we need as a defender, their partnership in the back, Ceballos and Fofana, is really great. And what I want to talk about is Ganago. Ganago, for me, shows sparks during the game where he can really be good. But then there's other parts during the game where he's really just, like, kind of not even there, not even, like, really tracking back on defense. It's kind of, like, iffy with him.
Yeah, I do want to talk about that tracking back on defense part. So, the way I've seen Caleb Porter playing is, he's had the wingers track back because we don't really have guys in the wide areas to track back there. Speaking of that, Langoni and Ganago are both doing so. Ganago less so, but Luka is going far back. Then when we get the ball back, we're going for a counter. What happens? Langoni is way too far back for any of this. So he is struggling, like, even though he's, like, one of the fastest on the team, he still can't get, like, he's not fast enough to get on that counterattack to help out. And there's now no one on his side, which is a very big problem. I do want to get your opinion on how you think someone we haven't talked about enough, Eli Feingold. I know you're a big fan of his. How do you think he performed in the first 3 matches?
I think in the first 3 matches, I really like what he's been doing. I mean, he's coming in, he's playing a position that it's not really his main position, right? He's coming in and he's still playing really well. He's kind of lively, right? He's giving us sparks during the game, energy that we need. And I know if you check on FOTMob and you see the goals, it does say Eli Feingold own goal.
They did fix that.
Which, right now, obviously they just fixed that. But I feel like he's a really good defender, and when it comes to attacking, I mean, if he just ups his game a little bit, he's a very good wingback. I mean, he's very young as well, and I really like how he's been playing. I think he's a very important part of our team, and I want to see him continue that over the next few games.
Yeah, I completely agree. I know for the first 2 matches, he wasn't really playing in that right back position where he's used to. He's playing at left back. I think he did play right back this past weekend, where they put Brandon Bye on the bench to start. Obviously, they brought him in.
How do you feel about that, Brandon Bye on the bench?
It's interesting. I'm not the biggest Will Sands fan. I'll be honest. He did come in a package that saw DeJuan Jones leave New England, which he was a fan favorite, which was not good to see. Made me very upset. And so I can't really hold much against him because it's not really his fault. But he's not DeJuan Jones. He's not going to be that guy for us. And I think Eli has that. He's going to be very good for us. Brandon Bye, he's always been not as good as DeJuan, but he's still decent. I think I would like to see Brandon playing on that left side next game with Eli on the right where he's comfortable. And with that being said, we're going to transition into looking ahead to our NYCFC matchup this weekend, but not before we hear from our sponsor, Leading Lights LLC. Unlock the power of your platform data with Leading Lights, experts in transforming raw numbers into compelling benchmarks. Leading Lights helps a variety of companies turn insights into engaging stories that drive growth. Elevate your brand with data-driven content that captivates your audience and sets you apart from the competition with Leading Lights. Visit their website at leadinglights.io to see how you can transform your platform data. Looking ahead to NYCFC, they're currently 1-1-1, drawing a 10-man Inter Miami 2-2 on the opener, losing to LAFC late, and then beating Orlando 2-1 last Saturday, albeit a late red card to Kevin O'Toole. I want to talk about that a little bit later. They're a solid team. Their field is not ideal, obviously playing at Yankee Stadium, where I went for a BC Bowl game, but it's not a big venue for sports. Like, obviously it has the Yankees, which is a solid team, but it's not for soccer. It's not for football. It doesn't fit that field well. So it's a very, very thin field. With that said, that our attack obviously hasn't been good. So thinking about this, it's not how we want it to be. And our wingers, who haven't been incredible, and our striker, who's injured but also hasn't been incredible. Our striker, like, down that middle, that would have been where we were, like, succeeding. But, like, it's not the place for wide areas. It's down the middle, but we don't have someone there, and our wide areas haven't been incredible. So it's going to be really interesting how we play on that field. I have a few players to watch. I'll hand it over to Raphael in a second. Hannes Wolf, Alonso Martinez, and Keaton Parks. Keaton Parks, I want to start with him because he always seems to give us problems. 27 years old, a very solid CDM. He just always seems to give us problems at that CDM spot. Going over to Alonso Martinez, Costa Rican striker, has 2 goals through 3 games, which isn't bad at all. It's 2 more than the Revs, obviously. That's not really what I wanted to do, but not had to mention it. Just we need to score goals. I'm gonna continue mentioning it.
It's a whopping donut right there. 0.
And I know the Revs do that thing with Duncan, like donuts for the team. I know they do it with Revs too as well. Not that type of donut, New England. Revs, that's the wrong type of donut. Not the O on the score sheet. We want donuts and we want
goals.
We want goals and we want donuts for the team. We want the team to get Dunkin' Donuts because we have a clean sheet, and we want the team to win and score goals.
I like that. I think if we win a game with a clean sheet, we get donuts.
Well, here's the thing. It's anytime the goalkeeper gets a clean sheet, we get the team. Not we. I don't get donuts. I wish.
Me too.
We really want donuts here. But it's anytime the goalkeeper keeps a clean sheet. With that being said, it's just not. We want donuts for the team, and we want goals on the score sheet. Got a little bit sidetracked there. Anyways, my final player, a guy I'm a really big fan of, is Hannes Wolf. 25 years old, former Borussia Mönchengladbach striker. My fault, winger. He is due for a big game with NYCFC. 45 matches for the Austrian with NYCFC, only 6 goals. He is bound to have a very good game very soon. I'm expecting this season he'll get a hat trick once maybe, and then 2 goals on like 2 different occasions. Who are your highlights?
Well, my highlights, I also really like Alonso Martinez. I think he's especially as a striker, he scored 2 goals this season, which is obviously, as we said before, 2 more than the Revs. I mean, he's been doing really well. I like how he's been playing. I kind of like his play style, right? I kind of watch games every now and then. I really like his play style. Another player I want to talk about is United States 17-year-old center mid Jonathan Shore. He's a very good midfielder. I really like his play style. I like how he really helps the team, and he's right in the middle, helping distribute the ball.
And obviously, he had his first start last week and performed exceptionally well. It was kind of remarkable to watch that game back and just see, whoa, this kid's gonna be special.
How old is he again? 17?
He's 17.
That's crazy.
Who's your third guy?
Third guy, I don't really want to butcher this, but it's Mirza Ilanik. He's a right back, 20 years old. All right, he is very good right back. I like how he's playing. I still think Eli Feingold is a better player.
I'm sorry to cut you off here. Micha, great player. Slovenian, already has a cap for his country. He's a very good right back. He has a goal through 3 games at right back. Last season, he had 1 goal and 1 assist in 29 games. Not phenomenal, but again, he's the same age as Eli. He's 20 years old, and he's a very good right back. Which
it's gonna be a battle.
It's gonna be a battle between those two to see who does well. And a guy I don't know what to expect of this dude. He's obviously been with NYCFC since July 2023 now, but it's Julian Fernandez, 21-year-old Argentinian, had an assist last game against Orlando. he hasn't had the most phenomenal career. He's been with them since 2023. He played 9 games and got 2 goals for them that year. And then last year, 27 games, 2 goals, 2 assists. And then this year already has an assist in 3 games. Has an assist in 1 of the 3 games. Excuse me. Playing right winger, he's a guy, I'm not totally sure what to think of him yet. I wouldn't be surprised if he does well, though. I think that him, but especially, I know I didn't bring him up, but Jonathan Shore, this kid's gonna be special. I'm gonna say it. It is
National team, USA, baby.
That's gonna be nice. Hopefully he doesn't switch nationalities like Esmer. Esmer, former Revs winger, making his Champions League debut, made me happy yesterday. That was
Proud
really cool.
dad right over there.
Man. Anyways, all right. Sorry about that. That made me laugh. Anyways, I want to talk about O'Toole. So a late red card for him will have him missing this match against New England. What are his replacement options? I've kind of highlighted 2. Obviously, there's a few more. They have 2 very good center backs who didn't play last game. Not totally sure why. Definitely something to keep your eye on, though, for NYCFC. With that being said, I think Nico Carvalho, 23-year-old defender, is going to get it. He's played twice for NYCFC, both of them coming this year. He played 1 minute against Orlando, which isn't that much. He's been on the bench for all 3 games, and he played 21 minutes, got a FOTMOP score of 6.7, my favorite soccer app. Keeps me updated on all my favorite teams, so go check it out.
Not a sponsor, by the way.
Would love it. But yeah, he's 21 minutes against Inter Miami, but a 6.7 match rating is no slouch, and it seems like he played pretty decently, so I wouldn't be surprised if he got that right back role. What do you think?
Yeah, I do agree with you. I think he will get that role, because I think when you talk about Drew Baera, he hasn't had an appearance.
Yeah, for context, Drew Baera, 18-year-old right back. He's never made an appearance for NYCFC, so that's why I think Nico Carvalho will get that.
Agreed.
I think that's what you're saying. Continue.
Yeah, agreed. I think Nico Carvalho. I also think he's I'm not a NYCFC fan, but he's a very good wing back, and I think he does get the start just because when you talk about Drew Baera, he's inexperienced, and experience really counts in this league. Yes, there's more young players coming in, but especially for this game that you want to get a win against a team that's not performing well. Obviously, that's us, the New England Revolution, and you want to get a win. You want to have an experienced player, even though 23 years old isn't as experienced as you think.
Yeah, only 2 matches, and it's only 24 minutes combined. Or like something along those lines. It's still more than what Drew has, and I think that will give him the edge.
Agreed.
There's always the option of they have 2 center backs that didn't play, who they started in one of their matches, who could get the start at fullback. I'm not sure about that. Obviously not an NYFC fan, like I mentioned. But I think it's going to be Nico. With that being said, I want you to predict the score, the starting lineup for your New England Revolution, and the scorers of the game.
All right, I'm going to start with my starting lineup. In goal, Ivicic. Right back, Eli Fiengold. Both are center backs. Stronghold, we got Fofana and Ceballos. Left back, I think we stick with Sands.
Yeah? Why that?
I think we stick with Sands. I don't think it was poor, and I think Caleb Porter is going to be hesitant to change back after he already made a constable decision of putting By on the bench. I think he's going to stick with that.
I think the leading factor in that was seeing what Eli can do on that right side, on his preferred right side. So I wouldn't be surprised if he does go back to By right at fullback, but that might be left back this time.
Yeah, so sticking to what I said, right, we have Sands at left back. We have 2 midfields. We have Jackson Ewell, and we have Al-Hassan Yusuf. Al-Hassan Yusuf, again, for me, has been a really good player. And then we have our wings. I think we are going to play on the right-hand side. We are going to have Langoni in our cam position, Carlos Hill. Left mid position, I think we stick with Ganago. And at striker, we have Iruti, who will get subbed off around the 75th minute. And for my score prediction, this is a hot take, guys, but I think our New England Revolution will beat NYCFC 1-0 by a penalty in the 63rd minute, which Hill scores.
I don't hate that opinion at all. I'd love to see us get the score sheet. In that preseason match against Hartford, where we watched, me and you both went to that.
Yes, we went to that game.
Sure, it was a preseason match. It was against the USL team. We also didn't score from open play in that game. So, is that a telltale? We already thought about that going into this podcast, saying, is that a telltale sign of, hey, what's going on? Is there going to be something there?
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like there is. We are not scoring from open play, and as you mentioned, maybe a pen. I really don't know what to do about that scoring situation. My lineup, same back line as you. I'm gonna keep everything the same for that. Yusuf and Yule, all except for the striker and the left winger. I think we do put Diaz in, like I mentioned earlier, and then Ganago up top. I do want to see what Ganago can do at striker. He's a big-bodied striker who did decent on the wings, nothing crazy, but I would love to see what he could do at striker. And then Diaz, his speed has been great. I want to talk a bit about Diaz right now. He has been very good within the first 5 minutes of coming off the bench, and then I really don't notice him for the rest of the match. Hopefully, if we start him, he can provide something in the longer time that we give him, and then I think we sub off Diaz in the 63rd or 64th, like around the 65th minute, for Rudy, and we put Rudy up top. Rudy goes close to 30-40 minutes. So that's my lineup. Gonna go up top with Diaz outside. I really don't know what to do. I don't think we have what it takes to score. I do want to say I think the record currently is 4 games without scoring a goal for a team in MLS. If we don't score this game, we tie the record or break the record. I'm not sure. But that would be a terrible record to hold, and not one to replace the Supporters Shield points record that we had. That's not really what we're going for, Porter.
I mean, we got a record up there. Is that what Porter's gunning for? Just getting a record?
Hopefully that's not the goal, but not what we're looking to see. I really don't want to say this, but I think it might just end up being a 0-0 draw.
Oh, 2 donuts.
Which would be awful to see for a Revs standpoint and an NYCFC standpoint, going through 4 games, being 1-1 and 2. Last column. This is for NYCFC having 2 draws, and they're not bad draws, but drawing to the Revs at the moment wouldn't be the greatest thing to look at. And then for the Revs, sure, we get another point, but it's that scoring bit. Hopefully, Raphael, your prediction comes right. Maybe not a pen, because I would like to see them score from open play, not a pen.
I would love that.
But it would be really nice to see a goal from your New England Revolution. Well, everyone, that's going to do it. Thank you for listening to the first episode of Foxboro's Fortress. Again, I'm Cecil Kenney of the New England Podcasting Network. Please go ahead and check us out on X at NEPodcastingNet for all the latest updates on these podcasts. As of right now, the next episode should be coming out Thursday morning. And until then, thank you.